A good music rhythm game is one of those things that puts you into a state of flow, into the zone where you become one with the controller and tune into those deep brain processes.
And now we've got 2 music-based games that take advantage of the VR trend to make the experience all the more intense. First up, let's start with Thumper. This striking-looking game comes from a new team called Drool, and it's designed for play on both regular screens and in VR on PC or PS4. And they actually call this a rhythm violence game, Barjo.
Yeah, and I can see why, because it is super intense. Everything starts out pretty easy in the first level. Simply tapping on coloured blocks as they come towards your weird cyber beetle thing in a fast-moving trench. But it very rapidly turns into this brutal combination of stick turns and button holds, all while this psychedelic nightmare comes flying at your face.
Yeah, it's like being inside H.R. Geiger's brain or something. All those eerie tendrils and everything folding on itself. And of course, the music. Hard electronic beats and sounds that build this really menacing and oppressive vibe. I just started to feel really tense playing this, but also hypnotized.
Yeah, I felt this strange sense of dread just building. And it's the difficulty of it too. You need to concentrate so hard on that twisting, turning timeline, trying to interpret what's coming towards you. And that intensity makes it a really demanding game, in a good way.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. I think any good music rhythm game needs to be super challenging.
Yes, also it will destroy your thumbs.
Oh, did you find you were just pushing really hard on the X button for some reason?
Yeah, I already need a physio session for these cracking thumbs. Sometimes I even had to pause the game just to take a breath and massage my poor hands. But I won't let those leaderboards taunt me, Hex.
We briefly tried this in VR with the PlayStation headset, and it's visually impressive, but I wouldn't say it really adds much to the experience. I'd happily keep playing this in a regular screen, although I would recommend good headphones.
I quite enjoyed this in VR. It makes it even more surreal, like you're transported into a whole other dimension. I did get a little ill. Overall, this is a brutal and challenging game. I'm giving it 3.5 stars.
Yeah, I found it musically a bit repetitive, but I think if you like music rhythm games, you've got to give this a go. I'm giving it 3.5 as well. Next up, it's a return for the PS2 and Dreamcast game Rez with Rez Infinite.
Hex, I think this game was always destined to end up in VR. It's like an 80s movie version of cyberspace. All vector lines and pulsing polygons. It's kind of like the Death Star plans and Tron had a video game baby.
Yes, and unlike Thumper, Barjo, I think this should only be played in VR, even though you can also play it on your TV. Putting the headset on and going into this world is a proper trip. It really transports you somewhere. It's like you're going into the grid.
I've become pure energy. Now, this original game came out 15 years ago, and it's pretty much the same game, but I think it still really holds up. It's not your typical music rhythm game, because you aim and shoot at things to trigger the music and beats. But it still puts you in that same sort of zone.
Well, I think you could even call this an on-rails shooter as opposed to a music rhythm game per se, but the music is a big part of it. You sweep your aiming reticule around, either with a control stick or just by looking in the direction of your target, to lock onto targets and then blast them. And the result is just a spectacular explosion of colour and sound. It's a real visual and aural experience, and of course it made its designer, Tetsuya Mizuguchi, famous.
And he went on to bring us other music rhythm games as well, like Lumines.
And Child of Eden, which I loved.
I do think this could be a little bit more challenging though. It's very easy to get through. There are only a couple of times where you risk dying, such as those end-of-level boss encounters where missiles come flying towards you. But the game isn't really about that. This is a fun ride. I'm giving it 3.5 stars.
I actually think this is one of those unique and really essential experiences, so I'm going to give it 4.